From Central Indiana's #1 news source, this is Fox 59 Tonight.
Hey, good evening. Thank you for joining us here on Fox 59 Tonight, downloading our new smart TV at Fox 59 now. You can find it on that pretty blue logo, or find that on your Roku, Apple TV, Samsung TV, and your Fox TV. And if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you hit the subscribe button so you never miss any of the conversations that we have every night at 8 o'clock right here on Fox 59 Tonight. We're going to talk about some things that are happening on the streets of Indianapolis. We are seeing a lot of streets be reduced from these massive 4 or 5 lane one-way roads that we've all taken advantage of, speeding through, but that's also a little bit dangerous. And we are seeing some of those roads be turned into two-way streets to slow things down. We're seeing bike lanes added. We're seeing different road obstacles and strategies to make the roads smaller and to make them safer by making cars go slower to protect, one, the drivers and the cars. There's a new project where you can see some of that in action. It is what they would call in the near East Side neighborhood, just east of the Bottle Works area along 10th Street. You will find some tactical urbanism projects. We'll explain what tactical urbanism is, what it looks like, and how two organizations are working together to make everybody safer, especially bikers who are running through the areas, sharing road traffic with cars and everything else. The goal is to get everybody there safely. To tell us more about the organizations that are working together in our studio from Proformas, the founder of said company, Jeffrey Tompkins, along with Addison Pollock of AARP Indiana. Together, they've been whipping up a project that we're going to show you over on 10th Street to keep everybody safe. Gentlemen, thanks for coming on, and thank you for overall what you are doing to keep everybody safe.
Thanks for having us, Cameron.
Appreciate it,
Absolutely, absolutely. Jeffrey, it's good to talk to you. And I know this is up in your wheelhouse from all of your tweets on Twitter. It's still called Twitter, okay?
I still call it Twitter.
It's still going to be Twitter. And so I know how deep you are into architecture and wanting the city to be walkable, be drivable, be a multimodal area. So I know the passion that comes with this project and project. And then AARP, you guys have helped make this possible.
Yep,
So we
absolutely.
will talk about first the issue and how you guys came together to do a little problem solving. So, Jeffrey, let me start with you. What's over at 10th Street near Bottle Works?
Okay, so we have two intersections
Mhm.
off 10th and Park, 10th and Broadway. And what we've done is we've painted out some curb bulb outs to help reduce the crossing distance for pedestrians
Mhm.
and to help increase visibility for all users,
Mhm.
whether you're in a car, you're in a bike, you're pushing a stroller, or you're in a walker. That helps reduce speed and increase quality of life, especially for our most vulnerable residents. Chatham Arch is 31% over the age of 50. And so for our vulnerable residents, those below 18 and those
Mhm.
over 60, it's very imperative that we slow traffic down because these folks particularly have a harder time with those long sight across the roadways.
Well, we're looking now. Well, now actually you're looking at me, which I didn't mean to do that. Let's look at this, which is the project that you were talking about over in the area. So very colorful. We've got the bollards out there. We've learned what that term means over the years. Explain what we're looking at here.
So it's a tactical urbanism project. And to maybe get ahead of you a little bit, tactical urbanism is a way that we can have low cost, low barrier, implementable solutions that can help to prove that something might work. So
Mhm.
think of tactical urbanism as a proof of concept that cities can introduce low cost to slow or calm traffic to make it easier for everybody, every user, no matter you're in a car or walking.
Mhm.
So what we have here is with the gracious help from AARP and our civic partners at DPW, the Department of Public Works, we were able to afford parking stops, which are about 40 pounds.
Mhm.
You would not want to run over this with your
Mhm.
car,
Mhm.
but they're removable. They're not bolted. It's low cost. Again, it's not a permanent infrastructure. And then we have weighted delineators. We've also got some marking paint that's out in these colorful patterns of polygons.
Mm-hmm.
We actually had a contest we ran to vote for the best pattern we wanted, and the neighbor selected polygons. And so these two elements, both vertical and horizontal elements, help to give drivers the maybe unconscious or subconscious idea that, hey, maybe I should slow down just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And so far, the results have been phenomenal.
That's great.
So it's also good looking.
Thank you very much.
I like the colors. So um, this kind of project I've seen. We've seen in some temporary forms throughout the city. I think over off of Fletcher Place and
College there,
College.
and McCarty,
Yes.
right off, I think, Calvary, there's a
Yes.
section, yeah.
Near the South Split.
Correct.
Mhm.
Yep.
So, are these projects uh, temporary, or are these going to be permanent fixtures, at least in this particular instance?
So in this particular instance, we worked with the city specifically through their tactical urbanism wing,
Mm-hmm.
and DPW, the Department of Public Works, was very gracious. But this is very much a temporary installation till the end of October,
Mm-hmm.
so we can prove that concept to show that, hey, maybe if this works with the help of AARP to help fund it, that it would lead to permanent infrastructure improvements. And so the idea is that through the cold months between like October and March, you're going to have snow, you're going to
Mm-hmm.
have ice, the city technically does not want to leave something up, so this is a temporary installation until the end of October.
Okay. And then,
We'll see.
okay.
We'll see. We're hoping that the results will speak for themselves.
Okay. So this is still a test.
This is a test. It's a proof of concept, though, and it's a low cost. Again, you're lowering the entry of the barrier to entry
Mm-hmm.
to show people that it does not need to be this huge upfront cost. Infrastructure is very expensive,
Mm-hmm.
and it's costly and it's politically fractious, right?
Mhm.
So how do we do something on a temporary basis that proves the concept and kind of sells it a little bit? I think it's fun. I think it's a really good way to get the neighbors out and say, hey, look, our neighborhood could be a little bit more than just what we thought it was.
Mm-hmm. So you talked about two things, that this is not free. There is a cost to this, which brings us to how we got this project even going. AARP, you guys said we want to be part of said solution. So, Addison, how did you guys get involved here?
Absolutely. So at AARP Indiana, we are one of the state offices that facilitates this grant, this nationwide grant called the AARP Community Challenge Grant. It's in its 9th year, and we were able to award 9 different projects in the state throughout the state of Indiana this year. And the Chatham March Neighborhood Association grant project was one of those. We were able to provide them with some seed funding. They also provided some funding as the neighborhood association for this project. We're at AARP, our mission is to empower people to choose how they live as they age. So, Hoosiers 50 plus, we're looking out for you and your families. With this grant program, we are intentionally funding what we call livable communities, efforts to make our communities more livable, where you can age in place, age safely, have a good quality of life for you and your family. And pedestrian safety, transportation options in general, as well as housing options, better public spaces, things like that. Those are priorities for us, and priority with the Community Challenge Grant. So when we saw the Chatham March neighborhood application come through, we were just ecstatic. This is one of our demonstration grants. So there's 3 different categories: flagship grants, which are your standard grants; micro grants, which are around $2,500, just low cost. There's actually a couple more in Indianapolis that more projects that receive that funding. Community Heights received some to conduct some walk audits. The John Bonner Center received some for some disaster preparedness, just making sure that folks who are 50 plus can remain safe in their home if an emergency rises. So this is the demonstration grant. So this is one of our few demonstration grants. As Jeffrey was saying, it's a proof of concept. And that's the intention behind the demonstration grant, is really to replicate those promising practices that the city the city has put forth, and we're just glad that we can empower or help empower, be a small part of the story of a neighborhood really controlling its own destiny and being able to make its environment safer for the people that live there, longtime residents, new residents. We just want to make sure that people can safely live there and lead productive lives.
So, Jeffrey, you mentioned that you had to work with the city on this,
100%.
and Addison, you just talked about some other areas that you guys are helping with.
Mhm.
Um, Explain for the Chatham Arch neighborhood how you guys basically had to petition to, hey, we want to do this, we want to try this, because, and then I'm assuming, and educate me here,
Mhm.
that that's maybe the same thing that similar process of what we see over there on Calvary and Fletcher Place. Hello, Fletcher Place. Is that all the same kind of process?
So, yes and no, right? The city has made a concerted effort with the new Vision Zero initiative to help eliminate pedestrian fatalities, traffic deaths throughout Marion County and the
Mm-hmm.
city of Indianapolis.
Mm-hmm.
So, with that being said, there has been a wonderful new impetus placed by the administration and civic leadership to make sure that they're doing these little things right. And so, our partners at the Department of Public Works Office of Technology and Strategy, Daniel Stevenson and Chris Burton, project manager, worked hand in hand with the Chatham Arch Neighborhood Association, rock stars. And I don't use that word loosely,
Mm-hmm.
absolute rock stars. And so the pipeline of projects like these, the tactical urbanism projects, you're going to see more of them because these two individuals in particular have been given a green light, thankfully, by the city and the Vision Zero efforts. I hope that this is a replicable model that we can see more and more in Indianapolis. And I want to be very clear here. I just did a Barack Obama. I want to be very clear here. The Chatham Arch Neighborhood Association, with our partners at AARP, we wanted to ensure that no taxpayer dollars were used for this effort whatsoever. So, through neighborhood volunteerism and funds and our partners at AARP, we ensured that the taxpayers of Indianapolis, this would be no cost to them. Granted, DPW worked hand in hand with us in getting the permitting.
Now, why is that? Because again, this is uh, a concerted effort by the city to reduce deaths. Why not have them take a portion uh, of the bill? Because it's for everybody.
That's a great question, and the answer I would have it with that is the city, particularly the Department of Metropolitan Development and the Department of Public Works, are doing a mile with a foot of funding.
Okay.
And so, as we grow our city and look toward the future, it's leveraging those public-private partnerships, those relationships with organizations like AARP. It's leveraging neighborhood associations. We're all in this together.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, the city's got it's like playing whack-a-mole with funding, and
Mm-hmm.
so if we can help them help us, we're all in this together. It's my neighborhood just as though it's the city's neighborhood, right? So we got to think about how to strategize the best we can. I think that the Chatham Arch Neighborhood Associations provide a really good template with that.
I was going to say that that's a good example because I've had other people come in here and sit in these chairs from various organizations who have talked about how are losing so much funding because of the new bills that have been passed at the state house this year and the lack of federal funding and the reduction in grants. Like money is just not flowing for
Mm-mm.
projects. And so everybody is trying to figure out how do we still get the job done when you've got things like Senate Bill 1 that are out there reducing how much money municipalities have to spend across the board. And so this is a good example. I'm glad I asked that question. This is a good example of the why and the how. You still have to solve a problem, but without the support of government funds the way you would expect it to be. You know, if a city says, "Hey, we're trying to fix this problem on our city street," you would think the city pays for it. But in this environment, that is not as easy done as said.
I will say this though, DPW has done a great job with their lending library.
Mm.
So the city through previous funds has accessed a lot of these tactical materials.
Mm-hmm.
So, and this is a little free ad for the city.
Mm-hmm.
They've been so wonderful in this whole process. But through August 31st, they're actually accepting grant applications through their community powered infrastructure grant process
Mm-hmm.
to for any neighborhood like Chatham Arch that can access these materials free to cost the
Mm-hmm.
neighborhood, and they're already spoken for per se. This is not new funds coming in. They're just materials like the flex posts and parking stops.
Mm-hmm.
And the Chatham Arch Neighborhood Association was so happy to help assist with some of that as well.
Addison, for AARP Indiana, what was it about what Chatham Arch is doing out of all the projects that are out there that you guys said, let's be a part of that
Yeah, so it's a great question. We're an advocacy organization at the end of the day,
one? Mm-hmm.
and to your point earlier, there's only so many resources that can go around. There's choices made to how those resources flow. This is, I mean, I really want to emphasize the tactic and the
Mm-hmm.
tactical urbanism.
Mm-hmm.
It's a tactic. This is something that leads to an overall strategy to improve road safety for all users. We like the fact that it's nimble. It's good use of funds. It's that proof of concept. It will lead eventually to long term change. That's the hope.
Mm-hmm.
That's the goal. And Jeffrey had alluded to the Vision Zero initiative earlier. We are intimately involved in that process with the city, where we serve on the task force representing older adults, and it's something that it's a goal to eliminate or reduce serious injuries and traffic related fatalities by 2035. That's something that is, it's very key to us in our livability goals in the city. So when we saw this project, come across our desk, we were like, we need to flag this one. We need to put a
Mm-hmm.
star next to it
Mm-hmm.
because you only get so many demonstration grants come through,
Mm-hmm.
and this was a super strong one. We have communities. Kendallville received one for some traffic calming as well. We Gary, Indiana, has received bus stop improvement
Mm-hmm.
upgrades and some smaller infrastructure upgrades. We really emphasize transportation options for people
Mm-hmm.
because transportation is one of those barriers.
Mm-hmm.
For everyone.
Mm-hmm.
It regardless of your age, but age definitely can complicate that.
Mm-hmm.
And we want to make sure that our communities are accessible for people, whether you choose to drive, if you can't drive, whatever mode you choose to get around. It's just a way to make it a little bit easier for everyone.
Um, you also mentioned, Jeffrey, the age of the people in that particular neighborhood. Does that make a connection for you guys that
Yeah.
more reason to go there?
100%. So a key part of the community challenge grant is the how older adults or Hoosiers 50 plus are engaged in the project. If they serve in like a direct action, hands-on
Mm-hmm.
process, like they're helping build or construct whatever
Mm-hmm.
project it may be. Whether they're advising on that, they serve on a board. Or they're just at the ribbon cutting. We just want to make sure that older adults are involved in the process. That's actually what elevates one of the applications or any application that comes through for the community challenge grant. It's just how those who are 50 plus are engaged in the process. It's super important.
Okay. So, if other people are looking at this and like, I need this in my neighborhood. Uh, Jeffrey, would you be able to share any successful tactics that would help people catch the attention of one the city and folks like AARP Indiana?
I'm going to start with coalition building
Mm.
and consensus building and having conversations. And so this this all started. Us being here all started more than a year ago when our neighborhood association put out a survey to members and said, "Hey, what are the critical issues facing Chatham Arch?" Now, we can go through the statistics. 31% of residents are over the age of 50. But within a half mile of 10th Street, over 50% of residents are over the age of 50.
Mm.
So when we did that survey more than a year ago, what came up was they're going too dang fast on College, they're going too dang fast on 10th Street.
Mm-hmm.
At the beginning of 2025, we had a traffic safety task force.
Mm-hmm.
Neighborhoods can have that, and it doesn't cost anything. It's not even low cost, it's no cost. All it requires is having a conversation with your neighbors. Hey, there's an issue. How do we do this? What's the smallest thing I can do right now today to fix this thing? And once you start setting your mind from what's wrong to how I can fix something, you change everything. And one of the beliefs at my company and the way that we have that nimble based approach is starting small and having those conversations. Out of our traffic task force, we said, okay, where can incremental changes happen that would have the most impact? And what we landed on was 10th and Park and 10th and Broadway.
Mhm.
And so then you said, okay, we have a problem. We know where it's at. This is where we want to attack it. How can we solve for that?
Mm.
And we started looking for grant opportunities. And the ARP grant opportunity was just, it was a natural match. But, there's other ones out there as well. It just happens that, this has worked out so well for both of us, I think. But to answer your question, for any neighborhood wanting to do something, start with the why. But before that why, start with, hey, let's just meet as neighbors and get on the same page about something. You would be amazed on what can happen.
Interesting. Okay. So um, it is like anything. I mean, I am a problem solving person. Like, I'm not a person who likes to throw out, hey, we have a problem here without a solution. So what I'm hearing from you is try to find some of those solutions and then bring them to the table and say, can we try X, Y, and Z?
Or you can start with the problem, but get consensus on what the problem is.
Mhm.
Because once you identify something, then you can identify, once you have the known, it's better than having the unknown
Mhm.
knowns.
Mhm.
Once you have the known of like, okay, this is something that we want to attack,
Mhm.
then you can figure out ways and strategies to attack that
Mhm.
rather than this is an amorphous abstract concept. We don't know what it is. So how can we define how to solve for that?
Mhm.
So by having that consensus building early on and saying, hey, look, we know traffic is an issue,
Mhm.
it's having consensus on, okay, if we're going to do anything, let's do it right here. And then you can start to build that, okay, this is how we can attack that.
We're going to take a commercial break, but when we come back, can we talk more about tactical urbanism? You mentioned some of the other areas in the city that we're having these problems. Um, this will give people an overall idea of things like why the blue line and the purple line and bike lanes, how all of this together is trying to get to that same destination. We'll talk about that in a second. More Fox 59 tonight is coming up after this. We'll take a break. We'll be right back.